Good evening, my friend.
How you going, Carlos, mate? Another week.
I'm still a little bit crook.
Another potty. A bit crook still, mate.
I've decided to. I hope this isn't an omen. But I've foregone my traditional episodic P-Max for an episodic COT, Cup of.
You know what? You know I love to get around it. I've got myself one right now in me Liverpool Champions mug of 19.
Yes,
19,
Knights
20.
mug.
So it goes alright. Although, funny thing is, and I'm a bit superstitious. I'm like this myself, and I was thinking, I actually, in our last podcast, didn't tell you, but I had a P-Max. So I had a P-Max, and you probably didn't.
Did you?
And now you're having a cup of tea, and I think it's very weird. The tables have turned.
I'm
Something's
trying
happening.
to. Something is happening. I've still got this cough. It won't go away, so I'm trying to sort of scald it.
Have a bit of honey in there, mate. It'll
Oh, I love honey. I had some honey this morning. I know I'm sick because I'm not eating. Like, my food intake's really, really low.
Yes.
That's why I think Keely called the doctor for me the other day. She goes, "You haven't eaten?" I said, "Yeah, I'm not hungry." She goes, "I'm calling the doctor."
She's like, my God, somebody call the doctor. Call the authorities.
Somebody call this man an ambulance. He's a big fat boy.
Call the ambulance. He's not eating. Yeah, no, good call. It's shit though, isn't it? Sometimes when you're sick, you just like, there's no like reason for it. Like you haven't been around anyone or anything like that.
Just
You're
feverish and with a cough.
You're just fucking sick, and you can't do
just
much
sick.
about it. It's rough.
Can't do anything about it.
But you know, shit happens. I wanted to give a little shout out because I realised
Please.
in our last step we didn't do it. I think it's very weak from us that we did not give a shout out to our Legend of the Week.
Oh,
for
the
this
Valley
week.
lad. I don't know how to pronounce your last name, mate. Is it Fathers or Fathers? I'm going to go with Chris, whatever you want to be called. And then, because you're the Legend of the Week, mate.
He's the Legend of the Week.
Congratulations.
We gave him the shout out in on the Insta. But
Yes.
he's been doing a little bit of work this week. Last week rather. He
deserved it. He definitely deserved it.
He was getting involved. He deserved it. And he's the Legend of the Week. So our man Chris, the Valley Lad.
Now, I reckon it's a 3-horse race for this week.
People have been pushing.
It's a 3-horse race. We've had a couple of shares on people's private Instas and stuff. It's a 3-horse race.
Yep, Jimmy P's putting his hand up.
Yep, Jesse and my cousin's husband Jay, who's a good man. We had a chat about 6 months ago about shaving our heads because we're both, well, not yet, but he bit the bullet and shaved it, and
Gonskis.
I can tell you this: it looks really good.
Mate,
Him having a dome looks really nice. It looks fantastic.
I reckon you with a fucking even a one on top, or even just the skin with that big burly beard you've got. I reckon you look like a tough cunt, eh?
Do you want to look angry?
I reckon you look like a tough.
Because I'm not tough. That's the
And
problem.
that's the thing, and I know you're not tough. That's why it would be great. You'd be the best oxymoron ever. You just look like this absolute. You'd remind me of Vaughn.
I'd be a foxy moron.
You'd be another Vaughn. You'd look fucking like you could just bury.
Vaughn's a
some
girl from way back. Don't you worry.
And
He's a
then
girl from
when
way
you-
back.
when-
Ask him about the time he got arrested in a Canberra Raiders jersey.
Why's he doing it in the Canberra Raiders jersey?
It's a long
Sacrilege.
story. Sorry about this fucking cough, man. It won't go away.
Oh, mate. But yeah, you should.
I'm sorry, everybody.
You should get
2 in a row.
You should get the Kratos haircut, mate. The bald with the massive beard. You just need the body.
Oh, fucking hell. It used to take me a while.
The body, yeah.
I'd have to get on the juice.
Oh, mate, you'd have to hit our mate up, you know. But
I'd have to get on the clenbuterol.
Mate, isn't Kratos just a cut character?
He's a beast. I saw the yesterday actually that God of War has been voted the greatest video game of all time.
Where? Source, please.
IGN, I think.
But it's fair.
I think now I've had this conversation before. It's not my favourite game ever, but I think it's the best game ever.
So, I think that's a really valid argument. So, like for me, and it's crazy, right? Because I feel like that year we were blessed with probably the two greatest games that have ever been made. So God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2 both released that year, and so in the space of like a couple of months, I was.
So did Spider-Man, by the way.
I
It was a trio.
Yeah, and Spider-Man was good, but it wasn't on those two level. But I played probably the best 2 games I've ever played in my life. I choose Red Dead 2 because of the entire story and what you can do. But I can God of War is a very close second to me, but I can see why people put it first. The story and the cinematography in that game, like
Beautiful.
The way
The voice acting,
the
perfect.
voice acting when you're fighting particular enemies, the scale, like how it's incredible. Like it's the thing with Red Dead 2 is that obviously
Boy.
GTA have their own, they have their own style, but like role-playing games kind of can be replicated. But God of War, I've never ever seen being replicated. Never. It's never.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of games where I get to create my character because then I can go free for all and be who I want. But God of War to me felt so natural. It felt like this is who I should be.
And
Like, I didn't ever
speaking-
feel I was being pulled out of that realm. Like I felt like I was doing the right thing with Kratos.
And the funny thing is too, like those first batch of God of War games weren't played like that, so they were more archaic. They were top down.
Button mashers.
They were top, like the view was always like on top of the character.
Yeah.
And they were button mashes. Yeah, didn't really have. They had somewhat of a story, a pretty good story, but like there was no open world element to it. It was sort of level based. You just run through a level, smash a heap of cunts, and then you go through. But this one, what they made. Unbelievable.
Brilliant.
When they
I
put the
loved
gear set in it and everything like that. This new one coming out, Ragnarok. No release date yet, but I think it'll be solid. It'll be fun.
I just hope they do more of the same. Before we get on to the Premier League, how good was our little stint on Pro Clubs the other night?
It was fun.
Had a great time. Jackie Boy done it again. He come up with the goods again. He never fails.
Dare to Hunzel.
Victor, dare to Hunzel. Gee, what a mustache and a haircut on the bloke.
Oh.
Vic has never changed that bloke since I've known him.
No.
3 FIFAs in a row, and it's still the Wang with the blue mohawk and the tan skin. I went through several character changes in the first hour, but I'm settled. I'm not changing. The only thing I'll be changing now is haircuts.
I love how you're like, oh, I'm going to be 2 Meter Peter forever. Changed. And then you went to
Johnny Sins.
Johnny Sins. Changed. Then you went to
He looked good bald too.
Cobberini.
Cobberoony.
Cobberini.
No, then I went to Bilbo Baggins.
That's right, Bilbo Baggins, then Cobberini.
He had a good haircut too, Bilbo Baggins.
He looked old.
He did. He was supposed to.
He was old, but it was
going to the Misty Mountains.
It was he was on an adventure.
He was.
It was a good little run. I mean, we started off very slow, I thought, but then, like you said, once we got a couple of wins under the belt, we got some confidence, and now we're doing.
It's good fun.
Oh, mate, it's so fun.
It's great fun, man. I think Carlos Condit, aka the Jackal, that is his nickname. That's his jersey name.
AKA
Your old man
the natural
pointed
killer.
something. Oh, the NBK. That's right, out on the wing. Your old man pointed something out, which I sort of noticed, but I didn't. I never changed my number because 9's my lucky number. I love the number 9.
Yeah, you just keep back at 9, mate. Well, same with
But
me.
geez, I've had some name change. The name changes now. He is Carl because that's sort of stuck with the potty. So it'll be Carlos Condit, aka the Jackal.
Well, I've always been the same number. No one's ever said that about me. I always used
What
to
about
say
Jack's number? 41. The Jack. Dare to Hansel. He went from Baby Severus Snape in FIFA 20. Oh, fuck Baby Sev. Baby Sev was a great character.
I'll tell you what.
To Dare to Hansel.
Oh,
He's a talent.
That
Hunters.
That
I can't
first
wait to get him
night-
on this podcast.
That opening night, I haven't laughed like that in like genuine tears of laughter for a long
Yep.
time. I couldn't. Stop
It's almost the
myself.
most exciting thing about getting a new FIFA is just to see what Jack's going to come up with
Yeah, absolutely.
in pro clubs. Like, it's worth the $99 or whatever you're going to pay for the game.
The
It's
best
completely
part about
worth
pro
it.
clubs. I love playing pro clubs just because I know that Jack's going to deliver. He never fails.
Hunters.
Never fails.
He hopefully we can
something.
get him on in the next couple of weeks. Get him on for a Prem app, and we might get him to bounce back for another one where we'll talk all things AFL, talk a bit of UFC.
Yeah, well, we'll try to tee it up when here's a good one. West Ham v Tottenham. He hates Tottenham's guts, absolutely despises them. Right, and fair enough. That's a local derby. Hates it.
Good on
But
him.
if we could tee
Bubble
that up,
blowers.
with old our resident staff man Carl Howe, maybe get them both on.
Or even even if we could bring the producer back from the dead.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. I tell you what, I've got an idea. Hear me out. That weekend, West Ham play Tottenham, and that weekend, the biggest game in English football, Man United play Liverpool. That weekend,
Jesus
we've got to
Christ.
do a big potty. We have to do a big potty.
Jesus Christ, that is a big weekend of football, isn't it?
Our monthly special is coming for that one.
Just so you know, we play Crystal Palace. What a fucking game.
Belter. Mate, you might have a new manager by it.
Is it true fucking Watford sacked Chisco, or was that all bullshit?
No, Ranieri's fucking at Watford already.
Okay, so, but Chisco... So, it was after the loss, just last weekend, wasn't it?
They sacked him after this game.
After the Leeds loss. Okay, good, because I was watching the thing. I was watching the post-game conversation. I'm like, what the fuck's Chisco doing there? Surely they sacked him, but my timeline must have just been a smidge.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So now
Sorry, folks.
Dilly Ding Dilly Dong is back. The guy that won the Premier.
Claudio.
Ranieri. Could be my
He's good, Claudio.
Love Claudio.
He's good, Claudio Ranieri. He'd be making carbonara.
He was a little bit unlucky when he was at Chelsea originally. Like he got sacked and they got Mourinho. I mean, ultimately, Mourinho led them on to back-to-back titles, but Ranieri got them to second and they sacked him. So he'd been a little bit unlucky at Chelsea, but yeah, at Watford. And we play them not next week because it's international break, which is the worst time ever if you're a football fan. Just fucking useless. You know what? We spoke about it weeks ago in the first couple episodes we did, but how uninspiring international breaks are. You know what international breaks
it's boring.
are? They go away and you're just praying to God that none of your players get injured. Because that's all they are. They're just going to get injured and then they come back and they're injured. It's like, what was the fucking point? I hate them.
Shit.
I cannot stand them. I don't even care if they're
I understand it. I understand why they're there. Right, because they got to prep for World Cups and Euros and tournaments and blah, 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 blah. The international game is the pinnacle if you're a player. But as a fan of a specific team, it's a fucking nightmare. It's like, I don't have to worry because none of my players go, but it's a fucking nightmare thinking, Jesus Christ, who's going to get hurt next?
It's a joke, man. I fucking hate it. I've never really been a big international football fan. Like, I know, and that might coincide with England always being fucking useless, but I think it more coincides with the fact, like, being a Liverpool fan, there's a little bit of history there about, there's a little bit of an old saying, like, we're not English, we're Scouse. And I'm not even a Scouser, but, like, just if you support Liverpool, usually you're not too fussed on England. And my old man's not really that fussed on England either. He doesn't really care too much for them. And I don't either. I never really get excited. I watched, obviously, the Euro final, and obviously wanted us to win. But I don't get up for it. You know what I mean?
Speaking of Victor the Inflictor, he finally told me what a hove is. It's a beachside town.
That's basically it. And Brighton is pretty much right on the seaside.
With all the homosexuals.
With all the community.
Before we jump into it, I want to tell you a really shit joke that I heard today. It's really shit.
It can't be another vaginal cream story, mate. I can't do it. I can't.
No, this is just a joke, right? It's a bad joke.
I can't go through another thrush story.
No, it's not a thrush story. What happened to Bill after the bombing? Sorry, I've misworded it. Where did Bill go after the bombing? Everywhere.
You've done fucked it now, haven't you?
I have. Just cut that out, Andrew, please. I'll start it again.
He went for it, and he failed.
I've tried. I fucking forgot it. It's because I'm on fucking all this medication. I'm delirious. I'm still got a fever.
You're coughing.
I'm really fat. I'm coughing. Hopefully, like, I lose like at least a couple of kegs being sick, because this isn't fair. There's nothing worse than being fat, hungry, and sick.
Do you want your missus to feel sorry for you? Do you want people to feel sorry for you? Like,
she never feels sorry for me.
It's just the way wives are, mate. They never feel sorry for you for anything. You could be dying
She
on the
never,
floor,
ever
and they'll
feels
be
sorry
like,
for me.
"Oh, come on, I pushed your baby out."
My mother-in-law feels sorry for me. She goes, Jesus, you're sick. Because I did the dogs the other day when I had a fever. I probably shouldn't have done it, but I took the dogs out, and that's just because I'm a battler. You know, I'm just a battler. I'm a battler who can't tell jokes properly.
You're a battler in this, extremely strenuous job that we have. Very demanding.
It's hard yakka.
It's
well,
very hard.
hopefully everyone forgets about that mishap. Let's move on. Man United versus Everton. Thoughts.
Well,
I've got my notepad again, by the way. She's full of notes.
You've got it back, mate. You're a man that likes to take notes. You're an old school.
I do.
You're an old school man. You don't really like to live by the technology. You like to write
No, I
stuff
don't.
down.
I like to write things down because I like to write down the things that I see, because otherwise I can't remember them properly.
Can't remember it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get into it that way. This was a very even game, man.
straight down
like
the nose.
13 to 12 shots.
Yeah.
So Ronaldo on the bench, what the fuck's going on there? Like, why?
I know. Well,
Well, tell me why.
he's on the bench because he's 36 years old and he can't play 3 games in a week. That's why. So he played midweek.
That's a very valid point.
He played midweek against Villarreal and they got that win, the late winner. And then he's not going to play him on the Saturday, and it's an early kickoff. You got to remember. So they played.
Yep.
They didn't play on the Wednesday. They played on the Thursday. So they had the late Champions League game, and then they had the early start on the Saturday, which is pretty rough to be honest. I don't know how the fixture list really works like that. But
I'm going to give you some quick stats that have shocked me, and I'd be a bit pissed off if I was a United fan. 700 passes to 268, 10 corners to 1. What's going on?
But, you know, we've had this conversation so many times, man. Possession doesn't win.
It doesn't win your games, does it?
You could, unless you're doing things with that possession, unless you're being threatening. I mean, yeah, they had 72% possession, 700 passes, but they only had 6 shots on target. So it's not like they were peppering them. Everton looked pretty solid defensively, and then they got them on the break and that's Man United's problem at the moment. And I had a little bit of a chat to about their issue with one of my close mates that's a Man United fan, and everything.
Don't tell Vic. Don't tell Vic.
No, it's the family that's his best mate in the UK, the one that we grew up.
Don't
with.
tell him anyway. Whatever.
He corrected me on that. He called me. He's like, you told that story. He's like, you were wrong. He's like,
you were wrong.
He's like,
wrong again.
He's like, it wasn't a blue kid. It was a red kid. I was like, oh, come on, mate. Give me. I was 4 years old, mate. I can't remember.
We all make mistakes. Just listen to that shitty joke I tried to tell before, and I fucked it.
Absolute stinker. But we were basically talking about Man United's midfield, and I've been saying it for weeks and weeks on weeks and weeks on weeks that midfield's not going to win you trophies. And the same thing happened again this week. That they look pretty good going forward. Defensively, they're all right. Like that backline's all right, but is it world class? I don't know. I don't know. The midfield is just weak as kittens, man. It's
a few little points that I took.
It's a bunch of kittens running through the midfield.
You hate them. Everton are playing. Fucking hell, I might die. Everton are playing super fast at the moment.
Call the ambulance right now.
Somebody call something. Everything. I'm more likely to die of a heart attack. I'm so fat. Demarie Gray and Townsend have really sped up the way that Everton play. Martial's goal was a pretty decent finish. He looks great with a bald head, by the way. Martial. He looks really, really good with a shaved melon. Everton almost won it, but when Mina was offside, and he almost ruined the day for Man United. But a 1-1 draw to me, I'd be pissed off if I was United. Pissed off.
Look, if you're looking at it as a whole, and obviously if you're looking long term, Man United obviously want to be winning their games at home, and they want to be winning against teams like Everton. And all due respect to Everton, but Everton aren't going to be a top 4 side. They're not going to be. I think we can all agree on that, right? So when you're at home, when you're at home against these sides, you want to be winning them. So they will be frustrated that they didn't, especially the fact that they had so much of the ball, yada yada yada. But again, if they're not gonna rectify that midfield issue, I'm telling you, man, they are going to struggle this year. And you can't. I'm seeing it already, and I could be wrong here, but this is just what I'm seeing already. I think there's almost an over-reliance on Ronaldo already, and he's been there for fucking 4 weeks or whatever. Like, until he comes on, they don't look threatening. And I know Martial scored, and granted, it was a good goal, and he did his job. But apart from that, without Ronaldo, they don't look threatening. And if they're always
Sancho looks lost as well. Sancho doesn't look like he's threatening self from Dortmund. I can tell you that.
Can't write a young kid off. You got to give him time.
I agree, but he just doesn't look the same. He doesn't look ferocious like he did at Dortmund. He looks so wild there.
You know what I think it is, man? I think that certain players and we were talking about it before when we were on our last podcast, our last episode, we were talking about the NRL, and we were talking about how certain coaches, you just need to get your arm around the player, and that's what brings the best out of them. And I think that Jadon Sancho looks like a player that needs a manager that's really going to get his arm around him and motivate him. And I don't think Solskjaer is a man that can motivate a young player to be to grow into being a superstar. I don't know. I could be wrong, but He just looks uncomfortable and he hasn't settled yet. And sometimes players take a year. They do take a year. But when you get the likes of Ronaldo and you've got the likes of Greenwood and you've got the likes of Rashford who are all probably in front of you, and you're trying to break it to that side, and it could become challenging, and become tough. So it looks like it's going to be a hard year for him. He definitely hasn't started well. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still not sold on Man United. I mean, I know there's only a point between us and them. We got 15 points, they got 14. So realistically speaking, they're only a point behind us. But I think you can look at us, you look at City, and then you look at them, and you can see the gap already. You know what I mean? Even though it's only 7 games in, you can see the difference in quality, I think, between the top 3 sides and then Man United. That's how I feel. I could be wrong, but I feel like they're going to go through a lot more games like this where they'll struggle and they'll get a lot more draws and maybe a couple of losses here and there. I mean, they lost last week to Villa at home. So they're just capable of getting shit results. And like I said to you a couple of weeks ago, I wasn't convinced that Chelsea and Man United could go for long periods of the season consistently getting results. And I'm already starting to see it, that they may struggle.
Well, the table toppers, Chelsea, they're on top of the table now after the win versus the South Ham. They'll be back to their professional best.
Yeah, it's sort of weird though, right? Because like Chelsea have lost a game at the top, and we're unbeaten. But that's how football goes. Like you draw. We didn't take our opportunity last week when we played Brentford. Even though we went back to top of the table, we're only a point in front, and then we've drawn again. So that's why they've taken over us. But I do think it's going to change. It's going to go a couple of weeks. Chelsea will be leading, and then we'll be leading a couple of weeks, and then City will be leading a couple of weeks. I think it's just going to go up and down, up and down, up
City's
and down.
back by 5 at the moment. And Everton round out the top, aren't they? Isn't it? Oh no, it's 16-14, not 19-14. I'm delusional. You have to forgive me.
Yeah, 16-15.
Sorry,
Oh,
I'm
no,
going crazy with this fever.
You are right. Sorry, they're a point behind us too, so they're on 14.
You apologise now.
I am.
I'm real happy Timo finally put one in. He could have had 2, but fucking hell, I was upset with poor bastard. He put in a belter header. It got overturned, but then he put one in. It was just a tap in, but still fucking good on him.
Bit of a strange old game for me, I think, because like I think this was almost exactly like the Man United Everton game. So Chelsea, I don't think looked that fantastic for large parts of the game up until the 85th minute, but they just did enough to make a clear-cut chance to score the goal, and they end up winning 3-1, right? But
in the 88th minute, there was a fucking passage of play where there was like 3 dead set pings on goal from Chelsea, and then Chilwell put one in that I thought the keeper saved, but like when they reviewed it back, it was in the goal. That was a crazy passage of play in the 88th minute.
Yeah, but
the first half was a slog.
Yeah, it was. But obviously Chelsea doing enough to get themselves over the line at home, and like they had the opportunity there to let that drag out to 1-1, but in the 85th minute they find a way to score, and then they get that third to seal it. And obviously when you're at home against Southampton, who haven't won a game, you need to be winning those games. So they did what they had to do. Did they change my opinion on anything? No, not really, but solid result, and they're going to be up there. They had a few bad results midweek. They lost against Juventus, and then they lost against City last week. So they wanted to turn up and obviously put on performance, and they did that. And if you look at their fixtures for their next 5, they're pretty fucking lucky, man. So I'll just run through them with you a little bit before we jump onto the next couple of games. So they just played Southampton. Their next game, Brentford, which admittedly
Brentford doing well, man. They're coming 7th.
Look, admittedly that will be a challenge, but you would expect a team like Chelsea to beat them. Then they play Norwich, which, let's be honest, you know what's going to happen there. Then they play Newcastle. Then they play Burnley. Then they play Leicester.
So they literally play the 3 relegated zone teams in the next month.
Yeah, so until match day 13, so until 29th of November, they don't play a top 6 side. So sometimes the fixture gods just fall on you like that, and they could have a patch here for the next 5 weeks where they are top of the table because they,
unbeatable.
Where they just, well, I mean, they have been beaten. So there's only one undefeated side left in the league, mate.
I believe that's the pool.
I'll have you.
On to the next one, the big disappointments, the ones that break my heart, coming in at 19th place. Soft defence from us as usual.
Let
Hwang
me know-
Hee-chan put 2 in.
Let me know
The
how you feel
former
about-
Leipzig player. I was disappointed as usual. Like, we're just soft defensively.
I saw a little
The
bit
team
more
who-
in this than weeks
The team who
past.
can't score goals, the Wolves, just put in 2 fucking easy as piss ones against us. Hwang Hee-chan got... I used to pick him in Ultimate Team all the time because his speed was so high. Hwang Hee-chan.
He is a demon.
The Korean demon. Super quick. Used to play for Leipzig. The thing that I noticed as well, the Wolves' finishing was still shithouse. Trincao missed a sitter. Someone else missed a sitter. We should have been belted. Hendrick nailed one, but it was all the Maxi magic to set it up for us again. I'm just shit. We were shit.
I saw a little bit more in this than I have in the last couple of weeks. I'll tell you why, because I think that you guys had a couple of clear-cut chances there to really seal the game away. So at 1-1, Jacob Murphy goes through. He's one-on-one, and he just tries to chip the keeper, but he like fluffs this chip and he hits it straight into the chest of the goalkeeper. Like,
Yes,
so
he did.
there was moments. I think that, you know, on another day, a bit more like if that was St. Maximin running through, he slots that. You know.
Yep. We've got no confidence at the moment. Nothing.
Yeah, but that happens when you're not winning games. But
Exactly.
I think that your overall performance was better than weeks past, and I think that you had a lot more chances to win the game. I know you lost ultimately, and that's all that matters. But like, I don't think it's Brucey's fault this time, because I think that he set his guys up to win, and you just couldn't finish. Like, and that's not his fault. That comes with confidence.
We miss Callum Wilson. We really miss Callum Wilson.
Absolutely. If that's Callum Wilson, that's buried.
We miss him.
But the thing with Newcastle is that you've got to start winning games quickly. You know,
We're gone, man. I'm telling you, we're getting relegated. We're gone.
Unless you change your coach, it's looking dire. Let's put it that way. But
We should have fucking sacked him 2 weeks ago and taken Ranieri.
But you know, look, it's not all doom and gloom. Like, you win a game because it's so tight at the bottom. Like Leicester, right, are 13th, and they're only 5 points in front of you. That's 2 games, man. Like, it looks all doom and gloom, but at this early stage, it's also tight.
Well,
down.
17th is only a point ahead. But
Well, yeah, and you know, 16th is only 1 game in front of you. So, you know, these things, they look bad, and I understand how you'd be feeling being a Newcastle fan and seeing yourself 19th. It would be dreadful.
well, we've had
But
16 goals scored against us. That's what's really disappointing.
That's
Is
not
that
good.
is to play 5 at the back and have 16 goals scored against you is really disappointing.
Yeah, but at least, you know, you could be worse. You could be Norwich.
Poor old Norwich. Speaking of Norwich, we called it. It was a fucking stinker. We called it, and we called it early. Pat on the back all round. What a fucking dull stinker.
I think we actually... I know I didn't for the Wolves game. I picked Newcastle, but I think you picked Wolves. But I picked the draw for United. I picked the 3-1. And I picked the 0-0 for Burnley Norwich. I think we were pretty bang on so far.
We're pretty close.
I don't know what you picked for Wolves Newcastle. Did you pick Wolves to beat?
I picked Wolves to beat Newcastle. I had Everton beating Man United, and I had Chelsea
That's
winning
right.
3-1.
Yeah. But
Burnley
stinker.
Norwich. The stadium was half empty. What was that all about? Was it a COVID thing, or just people sick and tired of showing up?
it's just
What
Burnley.
was it?
It's not exactly a prosperous area. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was fair income half empty, the stadium.
Okay, so for people usually in that neck of the woods, and for teams that are a little bit what I class as say smaller, right? They don't really those sorts of fans don't really show up week in week out to games like Norwich. So if Burnley had played Chelsea or Man United or Man City or Liverpool, that would have been packed out because those fans will turn up for those games because they want to see them play against the best teams. But
Yeah.
for teams at the lower end of the table, sometimes you get stadiums that aren't full for those lower clubs, which is weird because you usually don't see that for any. They're always usually packed.
I've just typed Burnley into Google to have a look where it is.
It's right next to Blackburn. It's Blackburn's rivals.
It is, and the first thing that popped up is as a top story. No retrial for Burnley killer who blames spirits for murders. So I'm never going to Burnley. You can fuck off. There's a cunt running around killing people, blaming spirits.
Oh,
He doesn't. He looks like a spirit too. He's
Spirits
look
told
clever.
me. Oh,
he doesn't
God.
look like a very nice fella.
It's the UK, man. There's a few weirdos.
Odd people. Odd people.
Your favourite team?
Complete
next,
stinker
right?
of a game. Sorry. That one snuck up on me. The Wankers versus Watford. Look, I've got a couple of things I want to say about the Wankers, and it's probably actually some nice things. Leeds were a lot better than Watford. Obviously, they sort of ran them into the ground. I don't know how Dan James tackle in the fucking box wasn't given a penalty. I can't figure that one out. It was a really weird refereeing decision.
Yeah,
And on the Watford side, Chocolate Musa, my man, Big Choc Top, had some real dodgy plays in D, which could have really fucked them up. I understand now why Tottenham let the Big Choc go.
He's a bit of an average player.
He's a real average player. I had him in my Road to Glory career mode team, and he was like a mainstay.
He's very rash. He's like...
Never again. Big Choc Musa.
He's erratic. That's the word I like to use. He's very erratic. So he's just got no self-control. He's just all over the
Nothing.
place. Like in
Nothing.
In the Champions
He's
League
like a
final,
teenager. He's just like a teenager at home alone, just erratically pulling his cock. Whipping the skin off it, as they say.
ferociously.
Oh,
Well, in the Champions League final, in the first 30 seconds, he gave away a handball. He's throwing his arms all over the place.
Big Choc.
And fucking
Chocky Musa.
Mane hits the ball against his arm. He's erratic. That's why they got rid of him. You can't trust him. But
Other than that, it was a bit of an off game for me. I didn't really.
Next game was Brighton Arsenal was another. It was another stinker, but
It was a bludger.
Brighton had the better of the play, man. They had 21
Absolutely.
shots. They were
Lewis
on
Dunk,
top.
Mr. Sitter from in front.
They were on top. Brighton probably deserved to win that game. Arsenal, again, same old Arsenal. They go through this little sort of patch where they look like they're back, and this little purple patch where they win 3 games, and then all of a sudden they have a game where they're terrible again. And look, granted, Brighton are a pretty good side this year, so you can't really take too much out of it. But again, the stature of a club like Arsenal, you should be going away to Brighton and winning. But yeah, just you can't ever rely on Arsenal to consistently give you something. They'll let you down.
Neil Maupay went for a bicycle kick for goal, and he couldn't have kicked the cunt any worse. He shot it to the moon, the poor bastard. But good on him for having a try. One thing I noticed about Thomas Partey, right? Thomas Partey had a shot on goal, which I reckon majority of class midfielders would have sunk it, right? Like Conte, who's a god, would have sunk it. Hendo would have sunk it. Fabinho. He missed it by a long way, and it just shows you that skill gap. He really, really shanked it a long way, and it was a pretty fairly easy shot on goal. So Arsenal are in this weird little hole at the moment. It was a very end-to-end game, but other than that, it was a fucking bludger.
Yeah, look, 0-0 is a very rarely good game. We always say that. Like, the only ever good 0-0 we saw was the fucking one on opening day or whatever it was. It was that Brentford Palace game. That was a belter.
Yeah.
But usually, though, they're stinkers and nothing to get too excited about. This next game, fucking the Golden Cocks, as you like to call them. The
Cocky Boys.
The Cock and Balls.
The resident stats man, Kyle Housestang.
They finally got a win.
The producer. Man of the people. Finally got a win against Villa.
Finally got a win. I didn't really pick that, but you know, Tottenham showed up and...
I only took a few notes on this game because I didn't think it was that good of a game.
Probably wasn't.
Heung-min, you're right about Heung-min again. Heung-min is so dangerous, right? Do you know who he's really similar to? He's so similar to Adama. He's really dangerous, can't finish anything. He had so many times he could have put one in or just put one through, and he just fucked it up again. Harry Kane was poor, I thought. I didn't think Harry Kane was good at all. Tottenham definitely deserved the win, but other than that, I didn't really think it was that much of a game to write home about.
Oh, Kane still hasn't scored in the league, so he's not doing anything in the league. He's only scoring against fucking pub teams in the Conference League and the Europa League. You know, Son, very, very dangerous with the ball, very quick, dynamic, hard
Nippy.
That
Korean side will be good with Heung-min and Hyang Hui Chan.
Yeah, there's a bit of pace there. Yeah, he's hard to track. He's hard to keep a hold of. But yeah, he's not a predator. He's not a finisher. He's not an out-and-out goal scorer. He just isn't. It's a proven fact. But it doesn't mean to say he's not a great player. He's a great player. But ultimately, when you're in that front three, and this is why we'll touch on it, what I want to say about Salah in a little bit. But this is why people like Mane and like Salah get lauded as great players, because when you're in that front three and you need to contribute a lot of goals, you know what I mean? That's hard. Absolutely. That is hard to do. It's hard to come off the left or come off the right and score the amount of goals as someone as a number 9 does. So I'll live him with the hook a little bit, but there are times where Son gets a very, very good opportunities where he should be burying, because a player of that caliber should be finishing those opportunities, but he just doesn't.
I don't know what it is. He just can't put that last little bit on it.
Yeah, and look, he has games where like he'll score a hat trick and you're like, fuck, this guy was unplayable, but
he looks so dangerous, man. He looks so much like a Dharma. They
think
they have this ability to beat 1, 2, 3 blokes, and they come to the post and they shank it.
I think Son's a far better player than Adama, but I know what you're trying to say.
He absolutely is.
I know what you're trying to say.
They've just got this ability to beat people off the ball, and then all of a sudden they get into the pressure zone and it doesn't work.
I just think Son's a bit inconsistent. He's a bit hot and cold. One game he can look unplayable, next game he's a bit average.
Because I think he had a good game, but he just missed too many shots again.
Yeah, and look, that's being super critical.
Very critical.
Very critical, because he was very good. I thought he was brilliant. He set up one of their goals. But again, like in their situation where they're not playing very well and they need results and they need to climb their way up the table, those are the people you start to point the finger at, because he should be putting away those opportunities. But then, I mean, look at Harry Kane. He fucking hasn't done anything.
Nothing.
Anything. Hasn't done a thing.
Made a fool of himself. That's all he's done.
Pretty much.
My second favourite's got a win over Jackie's Bubble Blowers.
Hey,
the old Dare to Hansel's Bubble Blowers.
Jack wasn't very happy about this one. He gave me a few messages.
Geez, my second favourites are coming up fucking trumps, aren't they?
He was a little upset, I'll say that.
What I noticed with this game, the Hammers lacked a smidgen of polish on the ends of things. And Mbueno, once again, really good. Ivan Toney, I thought, was really good again. Brentford's they've got this ability to withstand a bit of defensive pressure. They were really good holding out West Ham. But I can see why Jackie Boy would have been furious. Hansel would have been screaming.
Well, Jack thinks that they just that West Ham had more of the opportunity and more of the clear-cut chances, and that Brentford kind of rode their luck at times and kind of withstood West Ham, and they kind of got them on, obviously, pretty much the last kick of the game. And so, obviously,
93rd minute, heartbreaker.
Basically 94. It was like pretty
94th minute, heartbreaker. We've all seen them before.
We have. So yeah, obviously you'd be a bit frustrated, you'd be a bit upset. I would be if that happened to us. But I think the thing with West Ham that's more important to highlight is that you're starting to see, I think, or maybe you might start to see, just the taxing labour that's happening now with them playing in the Europa League and then playing.
Yeah, this is what we said. This is what I said at the start of the season.
We both said it, and I think that most people that, well, even Jack, he kind of had that fear too. That back-to-back sort of games with their thin squad might just be a bit of an issue for them. And they had a really good game midweek in the Europa League. They won. I'm pretty sure they won 2-0. And they look very good in their Europa League group. They'll probably go through top of the group, and like I said, I think they'll probably go pretty deep in the Europa League because they want to make a splash. They haven't been in it in a while. And there's such big incentive to win the Europa League, because if you win it, you get into the Champions League. So obviously everybody wants to win the Europa League. And I think because they want to do that, the amount of travel and playing your best players all the time, when you come back and you play a team like Brentford, who are energetic and they've had a week off and they have no fear and they're really up for it, those are the games that are really tricky and really hard to win. And ultimately West Ham did enough to get a point. But, just that last kick of the game, sometimes it doesn't go your way. And
it's still early days, but I guarantee you Brentford will stay up this year. There's no way they're getting relegated.
Oh, not a chance. I don't think they're going down. Even if towards the back end of the season, and this usually happens, and I've seen this pretty much for the my entire life of watching football, I've seen this happen so many times where a promoted side will have a very good first 6 months, and they'll get to Christmas and they look the goods, look very good, attacking well, getting
The
points,
Newcastle shit the bed treatment.
getting results, and then the turn of the year, and they just hit this bad run of form, and they end up finishing like something like 15th, 14th, 16th, and you're like, geez, where the fuck did that come from? Seen it so many times. However,
It's hard to keep that consistency.
it's very hard because teams start to figure you out, and the more you go on through the season, you get a couple of injuries, yada yada yada. It all starts to usually pick up. But Brentford look a little bit better this year. I think that
They do look good, don't they? They look really good.
the thing is they've got no fear, and they attack well, and like against Liverpool, they did something against us that not many teams do against us, and I think they apply this to everybody that they play, is that when they went 2-1 down, they're still pressing, like, they're still going they're not going back in their shell like, oh, well, we better defend a little bit now because if they get a third, we're not going to be able to win the game and all that shit. Like some teams do that. They defend for a little bit and then try to get you on the break. Brentford don't do that. They just, if they're 2-1 down, they're coming for you. And
Exactly. It's exciting.
It's exciting, and sometimes
It's really exciting.
teams don't know how to deal with that. It takes them off guard, and that's why they're doing so well, because they just keep coming for you. They're playing really good football.
The men who live in the glass house versus Worcestershire Sauce City, Leicester City, the dirty old foxes, the sneaky old foxes.
I tell you what, Palace deserved to win this game. Fucking like
Didn't they ever?
4 or
Leicester
5
were
to-
dreadful and
Leicester
just
was
put in these like 2 against the pace. Ian Archo's goal. Sorry, I have to cough again. Fuck.
Call
Ian
the
Archo's
authorities.
goal
Get the triple.
was a great solo effort. Vardy, the old fox, puts another one in. Both Leicester goals are off the back foot, and then Palace to fight back. Even though Palace were on top and down 2-0, to fight it back to 2-2. Happy if you're Palace, furious if you're Leicester.
Well, I mean, Palace, they were all over them, and then they get the 2 goals against the runner play, and you're like, what the fuck has just happened? Palace should be up. And so Leicester didn't deserve to be 2-0 up, but they were. And then, it's sort of the way the game goes, because they kind of don't deserve to be up. They kind of lose their lead a little bit, because they never looked great at any part in that game. I didn't feel Leicester. I thought they were a bit average, and the same things have happened again with Leicester. They don't look good defensively. They were pretty strong last year defensively, but this year, man, they look a shell of what they were. 13th place. They've conceded 12 goals, only scored 9.
Do you think they're getting old? Do you think it's because they're aging?
They've actually got some young talent. I think what happens is, Carl, and this happens to a lot of teams. So Leicester last year, and the year before, they had really good pushes for the top 4, and then ultimately didn't make it. But sometimes when you don't really invest in your squad, and you go into the next season with the same squad, I think they bought a couple of players here and there. Teams start to figure you out, and they haven't really reinvested. And I think Brendan Rodgers has become a little bit of a one-trick pony. He doesn't really have anything else. I agree with that completely. If his plan A doesn't work, he's got nothing else to go to be able to try and get a result. And they're being shown up this year ultimately for that. They don't have a plan B, and they just have no other way. They've got a real big problem at the moment, Leicester, with stopping teams and then scoring goals. So they're not scoring goals and they're not stopping teams. And when you're not doing either of them, you're not going to be in a good position in the table. It's just
the one last thing I'd like to say about this game is the fella come off the bench and scored after 25 seconds. His name was Schlupp. What a great name for a guy to come off the bench. Schlupp.
Just another little key fact for the people
What's
out
his
there.
name, Schlupp?
What's his name?
What's his name, Schlupp? How funny is that, man?
Fuck,
I love those gay blokes, man. That is so funny. What's
so
his name,
funny.
Schlupp? If his nickname from now on is what's this then?
If in this politically correct world, people probably wouldn't fucking like that now, but I think that's hilarious.
What's his name, Schlupp?
But old Jeffrey Schlupp actually won a Premiership medal with Leicester City, and he comes on and scores a goal against them.
Yes.
That's what you get.
I heard that in the commentary.
That's what you get when you let.
Quick side note as well, before Keely's brother gave me an idea the other day to talk about on our potty in the future, if people would be interested, about do specific commentary teams make the game better or worse? So I think we can talk about that in the future, and I agree with him because there are some commentators. Well, I would much rather listen to Fox Sports Rugby League than I would rather listen to Gus Gould.
Oh, okay, yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah, absolutely. There's two people there's one commentator right now that is, for me, the absolute goat of commentators, and that I would love him to commentate my game every single week. No, not a doubt about it. It used to be Martin Tyler. It's not Martin Tyler anymore. I think Martin.
Not Marty.
He's over the hill. I think he's done. The best commentator by far now is Peter Drury, without a fucking shadow of a doubt. His enthusiasm for football and his calls and everything that he says, he's the top tier. And the person with him, Jim Beglin as well, they're beautiful. And they were the commentators for the Liverpool City game.
Get Cammy on the sideline too. He's a beast on the sideline. I love Cammy on the sideline. Is that right? Oh, I wasn't watching.
I didn't see it,
hell. You're paid to do one thing, Cammy, you prick. I love that bloke. He's so funny.
Oh, he is so funny. He's so clueless. I love it.
But we can go more in depth in that another time. But I think that's a fair thing to bring up, because he said he was going to stop watching certain games because he just can't stand the way certain commentators.
Look, some people are like that, and I would agree on the sense that I don't really like watching fan channel games, because the fan channel commentators are too biased. Even the Liverpool one, I can tolerate the Liverpool one, and he's actually not that biased. He's very down the line, but he's a little boring. And so, like,
I used to watch the footy with a mate of mine who goes for the Broncos, man. And no matter what happened, he was the most one-eyed supporter I've ever seen in my life. No matter what happened, like, Shane Webke could literally smash someone's jaw in, and, that's not a penalty. And then the most insignificant thing the other team would do, and, oh my God, send him off. I couldn't watch footy with him anymore. I just said, stop it. I'm not doing it.
Stop it.
Done with you. You know who you are. We haven't watched a game since. You know who you are.
Call the police.
You know who you are. On to the best game of the round. On to the masterclass from both.
Fantastic game of footy, mate.
What a game. What a game of foosball.
Brilliant game. First half was a little bit of a smash and grab, as I like to call it. I thought the City were rampant in that first half, and we just couldn't get any control. And they pinned us back in our half a lot, and we couldn't really attack. And at times we kind of survived a little bit. They never really had any, like, what I would call clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities. Yeah. But they were peppering us a little bit. Second half comes along, and then that's when Klopp must have went into the sheds and just given them a fucking...
Given them an almighty, if you don't win this, I'm not taking you to my dentist.
Firmino's looking around saying, don't stop that.
He's thinking, if you don't win this, I'm having all them teeth taken out.
And I'm going to rip him out with a ply.
I'm going to rip him out myself. I think Saddlebags is getting back to his threatening best.
I think he is too, mate. I really do.
Old Sadio Mane, Eddie Griffin. I think this was just a great game as a neutral to watch. Beautiful. I think Phil Foden's goal was a technical treat. He drilled it. Left foot. Sorry, mate. Left foot low. No one was saving that. De Bruyne. De Bruyne was really good again.
De Bruyne was a touch lucky with his goal. It was a deflection.
Oh, he was a touch lucky, but still, he was good. De Bruyne is the opposite of Lukaku, where he will save his best games for the top six.
Yes. But that's what good players do. You want them to turn up in the big games, and he does that.
He's a big dusty.
He is. You know what it is, man? That team was... Man City were brilliant, and Liverpool were brilliant. They were both brilliant. They were two
great game.
Going for it, and they delivered. It was a great game. It was back and forth. No team sort of stood back. They were both going for it, both pressing. I think that we come out in that second half and we really looked threatening. We were attacking again, getting the counter-attack on. And every time we were going forward, we were creating really dangerous opportunities. The first goal, the build-up play from the back, so it starts with Alisson, it goes into the midfield out to Salah, he beats a couple of players, and then he runs across sort of the defence and he slots the ball forward into Mane, and his finish was brilliant. Like, just
Saddlebags was a great finish.
Not even a touch, just bottom corner, and I was off, I was up. I thought, here we go. We can really win this. And then Foden's goal was, like you said, it was great, but I feel like Milner played well, and like he's super reliable. He's always there. He's 35, 36 years old. But I feel like if we had Trent, maybe the outcome would have been different. Maybe we would have won that game because obviously Trent is so good. But it's funny, right? So Foden's goal last year, he scored against us when they beat us last year, and he scored a very kind of similar goal. He got the ball on the wing, he cut inside, and he smashed it with his left foot, right? And when he shot near post, and he went to the top of the so he shot it into the top corner instead of the bottom corner. If you watch Allison on that shot in the replay in slow-mo, he takes a little step up before the ball is comes off Foden's foot, and I genuinely think that he's thinking, fuck, he's going to smash this ball in the top corner. Like
muscle memory, top corner.
Muscle memory. Or he's trying to plan for it, this kid likes to smash it top corner, and Foden's just hit it bottom corner and drilled it across the goal.
That shows you he's a great keeper.
Well, yeah, but I mean, great finish. Nothing.
It was a great goal.
Take nothing away from Foden, but
it was a good all-round.
We've got to talk about the second goal from Salah. That is
Muhammad.
It was one of the best
off the right foot too.
One of the best goals I've seen at Anfield. Honestly, that was
off the right.
It was fucking incredible. There was so much like Messi. It was unbelievable.
It was Messi-esque, wasn't it? He
gets that ball in tight. He's got 3 players around him. He somehow gets out of it, skins them all, sends Bernardo on his ass, cuts inside, puts Laporte on his ass, goes back onto his right, and then puts Ruben Diaz on his ass and finishes it. I actually was watching it, and when he scored, I put my hands in my head and I was like, "What the fuck have I just seen?"
He's bruised a shitload of coccyxes.
This is unbelievable, mate. I can't believe it. He is one of the greatest players that's ever played for Liverpool. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I know what I'm saying. His record is phenomenal.
It's ridiculous.
He's scored in every game this year. He's unplayable right now. And in terms of form, I'm not saying in terms of all time, and I'm not saying that Salah's a better player than Ronaldo or Messi. I'm not saying that. But
you're right.
In terms of form, he is the best player in the world. No doubt.
I agree with that right now. I agree with you completely.
He's performing week in, week out. He's showing up. And Kyle said this to me. We were chatting to each other the other day, and it was a brilliant point. He's like, it's easy to do it against the Burnleys and the fucking Norwiches. Yeah. He's like, but to do that goal against City, that defense, that's when you know you've got a fucking superstar in your hands. Brilliant, fantastic. He's so hard to defend. He's unplayable. He's brilliant, and I think that we are back to our title-winning form.
He's ferocious.
Will we win the league? I don't know. It's going to be so tight. I don't know if we will. But what I will say is I think that we are back to what we were in 18-19, in 19-20. Our defense is really good again. And people say, "Oh, well, you conceded 2 against Man City." Mate, everyone's going to concede goals against City. They're brilliant.
Especially when it was a quality game like that.
But they conceded 2 against us. So what does that say about them? So these games are brilliant. One thing I would say that was a little bit, if I can be a little bit disappointed, which I'm not really, because I just think the game was brilliant, is that we led twice. So we went up 1-0 and then we go up 2-1, and at that point, you've only got 10 minutes left in the game, and we brought Joe Gomez on to try, an extra defender to try help, and you just want to see that game out, and you're just trying to hold on. It's only 10 more minutes, so I was a little bit gutted by that. You're
holding on against the best players in the world.
Exactly. So you're holding on against City, and that's extremely hard to do. So but then we had a chance.
You can't give him anything. You give De Bruyne a millimetre, and he's going to do something with it.
But that's right. I mean, and look at Salah. I mean, you give him pretty much no space.
A millimetre, and he's going to do something with it.
Yeah, but that's what the best clubs and the best players do. There was one moment at the end I was really gutted about. Fabinho pretty much had a sitter, and somehow Rodri got back to it and blocked it. He had an open goal. And it's real fine margins. If he somehow got the shot off, we would have won the game. But, all in all, I think it was a pretty fair result. 2 teams at the absolute peak of their powers. Yeah. I'll tell you what I felt walking away from this game, and you might feel different. But I've watched a lot of these games against City over the last couple of years, and this game said to me that these two are still so far ahead of the rest that it's so evident. Chelsea are closer.
I'm more open with Chelsea than you are. I think Chelsea are still really, really close to the top 2. I think Man United, the more I watch them, the more I agree with you, the more I see them slip. but I think Chelsea are closer than you're giving them credit for.
I think that they will. I think that they
but-
will be close, but I can't see. Like, okay, we'll put in comparison. City wiped the floor with Chelsea. Absolutely pulled their pants down and spanked them.
They did.
And this game was so close, it's not funny. Now, I know that doesn't mean anything because ultimately, one week you can beat one team, the next week you can lose against another team. So it doesn't really matter. But if I'm looking on the basis of, like, Chelsea weren't good against City, and they kind of survived against us. Like, if they had 11 men, who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe we may have beat them, but that's another discussion. But they rode their luck against us and defended for their life. And so I'm not sure if over the course of the year, towards the end, if they're still going to be there. I think they'll be close. I think they'll be closer than what I think. Like, they'll probably be maybe 6 to 4 to 5 points closer to us. But I don't know if they're going to go all the way. I don't think they're consistent enough yet. I don't think they're consistent enough in their performance. So they're capable of performing to our level and City's level. 100%.
Yeah.
I think they're capable, but I don't know if they're consistently capable.
Let's predict match day 8. Let's predict these games.
Well,
Watford versus Liverpool. This one's going to be...
Here's the thing.
performing.
I just want to have a little chat about that before we even try, because it's a week break. So...
Oh, fuck, it is.
There's no games happening this weekend, mate. It's that bullshit.
We're not predicting shit. We'll predict them next week.
It's that bullshit international.
Fuck, I forgot. We're going to have to predict these motherfuckers next week sometime.
That's all right. We'll get involved. We'll keep up to our usually schedule. For the fans listening in,
For the Cobbers.
we'll get our schedule in, and we'll do a prediction next Friday when this.
Our mate Jackson, who's a champion. Tell us what Premier League team you go for, because I see you follow, but I don't know who you go for. I want to know. I want to know who everyone goes for.
In fact, yeah. If people listening in the chat, people listening in the Instagram, get involved, get in touch, give us a
Tell
message.
us who you go for. I want to know.
And if you
Because
message,
then it excites me.
if you message Man United, you may not get one back. No, I'm just kidding.
Bullshit. I will message you straight back. Don't listen to this fucking crazy idiot. I don't even care if I'm sick. I'll message it from a deathbed.
What if someone says I'm a Leeds fan?
Well, that's a different story, Tom.
Exactly. Your
That's a
hatred for
different
Leeds,
story.
mine's triple for United. So you got to give.
That's a
us
different
No,
story.
No,
Because I don't know anyone who would go for Leeds. Leeds are not a global brand, where Man United is a global brand.
Yeah. Look, I'm only Jesse. I know that there's heaps of Man United fans out there, and if they're supporting us, then you're a fan of mine.
Little Ned that I met the other day, fella that plays for fucking Brisbane City. He goes for Man United. He's a champion of a bloke.
He's in contention for Legend of the Week.
He is. There's like a trio or a quaddie. There's a quaddie in contention this week.
A trio of dips, some would say.
Oh, how good's a trio of dips?
Trio of dips are brilliant, aren't they?
How good's a cob loaf?
If you could say trio of dips right now, right here, right now, gun to your head, what
dips am I picking? French onion, plain old.
Beautiful.
Sorry, coughing again. I'm ruining everyone's fucking earlobes. French onion. I'm going to go some sort of avocado dip, because I love avocado with a passion.
Yep,
I can eat avocado like an apple. I love it that much.
Me too.
And the third and final would be some sort of maybe like a sun-dried tomato-y one.
That's not bad.
Something to sort of because
going-
the French onion's a bit creamy, and so is the avocado. So you want something a little bit how you going. You know
do.
What I mean?
Are you whacking in a bit of a hummus?
I do like a hummus. I do like a hummus.
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 You've also got a bit
Delicious.
of, if you're not back in, I mean, you've already, like you said, you've already got the creamy one in there, but if you didn't have that creamy one in there, you're back in a sour cream and chili, or you.
Oh, how good's a sweet chili Philly?
Or like a sour cream and chive.
Oh,
you're
how
back
good. Do you know what's lovely? Baba ganoush.
not bad.
You ever had baba ganoush?
Yes.
I like saying it. Baba ganoush.
So I mean, and I'm a big cheese connoisseur. I think.
What about the producers always offering up cheese platters? I love a cheese platter.
He's a good bloke.
Remember that day we went to his place
we had
a cheese platter?
Yeah.
I sent it to Keely and she goes, "Fuck, you've changed." And I was like, "We have." Debauchery happened that night, but that's not the point. We had a cheese platter to start the day off. That's not what men do. It's what fucking adults do.
It's
We
what
had a cheese platter.
It's what great men do. I reckon.
It's what great men do. Women have been onto this stuff for years. Women have been onto self-pampering, cheese platters, cob loaves for a long time.
But the one thing that topped that day off was the fresh cream, scones, and jam.
Oh, it took me so long to do a poop that day as well. And then I felt like I was in Alice in Wonderland for a while. And then I felt like Super Mario, where he'd go real big eating a mushroom and then real small. And then when felt really, really big on the toilet, and then I pooped and I felt really, really little. It was the weirdest feeling ever. If you know, you know. It was the last time I had fun, as they say.
If you know, you know. I think some of the people out there would know. I reckon the Valley lad would know. We'd know.
I fucking hope so. I used to be cool, guys. I used to party. Now I don't even get invited to parties. I'm not letting that go. I'm telling you right now, I'm not letting it go.
You're really not, are you? You're holding on to that.
No. Why? Because it makes me feel old.
Well, yeah, you know. You just, well, in comparison to that group, yes. But not into comparison to us. If that makes sense.
Our group. I wouldn't even want to be a part of that group.
Oh, you're throwing shade already.
No, I would though, because I reckon Jacko's young and he's a champion.
He's a great bloke.
I reckon he'd invite us to a party.
He's just an absolute great bloke. I've had a look at his profile. He looks like a guy to get on the beer with.
He loves his footy, doesn't he?
Good bloke. I mean, I feel sort of sorry for him at the moment, supporting the Crows. They're not going anywhere. It's gonna be a few.
Him and the producer both go for the Crows.
It's a few dire years for the Crows, but you know, I wonder what he thinks about the whole Tex Walker thing. I need to get his thoughts on that now. How that whole
Sexy
scandal,
Texy. That was a scandal, wasn't it? That's a scandal for another potty.
Yeah, the racism scandal. Yeah, it's a big
scandal.
One.
Scandal in a sandal.
We should get before the draft happens. We should hit up old Jack and get him, see if he's interested in doing.
Yeah, I think so. We'll get the bubble blower on. We'll get Dare to Hansel on for an app. We'll talk the AFL draft. We'll talk lots of stuff with him.
Well, that weekend where the 24th, where we've got the West Ham, Spurs, and then Man United and Liverpool. That could be looking like a weekend where we get a few of the guys on.
I think
have a bit of a chart.
I'm working, but we might be able to do it Sunday night.
Well,
we'll see how we go.
If you count your weekends ahead.
Next week is going to be tough too, but we're going to have to plan something. We'll figure it out. We'll get it done.
Next week?
We'll get it done, Colin. I'm on lates all the way through.
Yeah, I'm with you though.
That's true. We'll just have to do it during the day.
We'll figure something out. We'll be right.
No one cares about our planning stuff anyway.
No, they just want to listen. Like, they don't care about how we.
You know what? Instead of a joke, I'm going to give you some words of fucking encouragement.
Wisdom. Don't cough.
This is good for you. Ready? I found it on like these daily cards. Count your smiles instead of your tears, your courage instead of your fears.
Boom.
It's a nice little thing to finish the day with.
Bit of wisdom for you.
I don't even know who that's from. It's on a card with a picture of a Pomeranian on.
I feel like it's like a fortune cookie.
Imagine being the bloke who writes fortune cookies.
Oh, you'd be repeating.
Do you reckon there's a big industry for it, eh?
Fucking oath, because people feed off it, man. They need to be told that they're going to be great. People feed off it, like
they need to be told their fortune.
Tell me what's going to happen tomorrow. Yeah, I'm gonna find out if I'm gonna win the lotto or if I'm meant to meet someone. And my sister's a big fucking lover of that. She loves.
Would you rather know everything that's going to happen or know nothing like you do now?
No, nothing.
I'm with you, because if you know everything, you may as well just end it all, because there's no point. You know everything that's already going to happen.
No, because if you know everything that's going to happen, is it going to happen?
Fucking hell. There you go.
Get some Matrix shit on you there, mate. You know what I mean?
Do you know what I saw today, actually, on TikTok about the Matrix? Do you know the woman who gives Neo the biscuit?
The Oracle.
The Oracle? She gives him a cookie because she's a computer programmer.
Didn't you know that?
No, it's fucking blown my mind.
Come on, mate.
I'm an idiot. You know I don't put these things together.
I thought you told me that you watched that.
I did. I did. But I'm so sorry, everybody. But I didn't put two and two together.
It looks like I'm going to have to
between the cookies and the cookie.
Saturday night. I think it's fair to say that I'm working with you. There's going to be a little bit of conversation happening. I will walk you through, because obviously it seems like you haven't picked up everything. There's a lot of little things in that trilogy that you need to know. Okay?
On a need-to-know basis.
Yes, she was a program by the machines, yes.
Oh, so she was programmed by the machines. But
Yeah,
why is she giving him cookies? Because I know like what cookies do. They fucking help you save stuff on websites and blah blah blah.
It's all part of the program.
Crazy stuff.
I need to explain it to you. It needs to get more. If I
Maybe
explain
we're
it
in
all
a
to-
matrix.
it's-
Do we live in a matrix?
It's entirely possible, but nobody really knows.
I hope we don't. If we do, I hate it.
But we can get more in depth about it, because if I do it right now, I'll be here for another half an hour. But
Yeah, no, we don't want that because I could be dead in the next 5 minutes through this cough.
but no, I'll talk to you all about it. It's really good.
I'm still awaiting my COVID results.
You should have got them back pretty quick.
Oh, we'll see how we go. I haven't
you
been
gonna-
able to leave the house. It's a
Are you
fucking
even,
nightmare.
Are you even going to turn up for work this week, mate?
I will, don't you worry about that. Well, not if I have got my results, like they'll ban me, but if I've got my results back, I'll be going because I am a man who works. I'm a worker, a workaholic.
You're just going to affect everybody.
No, I just like to set an example. You know what I mean? Like, I used to have sickies galore when I was young, but I'm old now and I've got a family, and I don't need to be having sickies willy-nilly. I need them for when I need them, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair call.
Try and instill some early values in myself and in my child.
Oh,
You know
mate,
what I'm saying?
getting them started, mate. Jeez,
Start
I saw
them
that-
young.
I saw those photos your missus put up today of her when she was a baby, your little one, and then you.
Me in the old sailor suit. Who do you reckon he looks more like? Because she
Oh.
thinks it's him, but it's me.
I tell you, like, because I didn't see her as a baby, but then when she put herself up, I was like, oh fuck yeah, I can see it now, because he's got the same nose as her,
Yes,
I
that's
think
what she
he's-
reckons.
and I think he's got the same eyes as her, because you've got dark eyes, he doesn't.
Well, he's got this thing called the Schroeder eye. We've got like this weird hillbilly left eye. It's like
Little
our left
squint.
eye. Yeah, well, it's only on the left, and it's like the lid drops down a bit more. It makes me look fatter than I am, but it's called the Schroeder eye, and he's got it.
Your
My
eyes
uncle's
don't
got
make
it.
your eyes don't make you look fat, mate.
Excuse me, I will claim whatever I need to claim to get myself through the day. Okay? If I feel it's my eyes that are making me look fat, not my substantial stomach,
You gotta go with it.
I'm going to go with it.
Just trim
I'm
your
just going
beard.
to say.
See
No,
what you say
I
there.
look like a lesbian. Every time I cut my facial hair off, my sister tells me I look like a lesbian. I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, I don't know, you look like a butch lesbian."
Sally has showed me a photo of you, her, and Josh
Clare? Yep.
out on the town back in the day when you were younger.
That was in 2009.
Oh yeah, back in the early days, mate. And, and you don't have a beard, and jeez, yeah, you do. And that's what Sally said. She goes, "Doesn't he look like a lesbian?"
I do. I have to have a beard. My beard is my crowning glory. My beard is what makes me look somewhat masculine. Like, because if I don't have it, I'm just a 5'9" lesbian with penis and balls.
That masculine 5'9" frame, mate.
Yeah, it's. I have to keep. That's the one thing I can do successfully is grow a real good beard.
It's solid. It's not bad.
It fills out. I've got one bald patch on my chin though. It annoys me.
Bit of thickness. Well, jeez, you can't see it. Your fucking beard's massive.
It's good. I know. When I shaved it in 2015 when I was still playing footy with my cousin, and I showed up to training, and he told me that I looked like Cartman, and I just couldn't shave it ever again after that. He goes, "You look like Cartman, you fat cunt," and I'm like, "Oh,
What a call.
we're family. We're family, and you've done that to me in front of all these people. I can't be bothered with you anymore."
Like when I was a tradie, I had my hair really long down like my shoulders, and then
Yep.
I shaved it like pretty much like a buzz, and I went and it was like within the next day. So I left work with long ass hair, came back the next morning at 5, and I had like this like skinhead and fucking I rocked
Romper
up,
stomper.
Yeah, the guy was like, "Jesus Christ, you look like a junkie," and I was like, "Yeah, fair enough." He's like, "Don't ever cut your hair again like that."
I reckon if you had real short hair and no facial hair at all, you'd look like Sinead O'Connor.
I look like a weird fellow, man. I look
It
like
would
a
be
baby.
odd. Imagine what Sean's going to look like with no hair. He's going to look outrageous.
What do
He
you
already
mean?
looks like Mr. Burns.
What do you mean? You could just answer the question already. It's already pretty much got no hair.
No, he's got a little bit on top still. But he is going to look like a legit Mr. Burns.
Yeah, but you know when like people have stuff on top and they're fighting it and they don't.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, it's like when you see the guys who have like bald on top and they got a ponytail. They always look like a pedophile.
Paul Heyman.
But that's the pedophile haircut.
There's a few
Like if
people.
I see haircuts like that, I go, "What do you do in your private life?"
There's a few train guards that got a couple of that.
Absolutely. And you know what? It's probably I shouldn't be profiling people like that, but it's a pedophile's haircut. It really is.
Well, look, you're not wrong.
You know, I ever tell you about the time that I told a fella at work, an Indian guy, that if you want to ward off pedophiles in Australia, you have to put Vegemite sandwiches in their bags all the time, in your kids' bags. And he believed me, and he's been making Vegemite sandwiches ever since.
You fucking bastard.
I'm not going to tell him. It makes him happy.
You're a shit stirrer, man.
I'm not going to tell him. It makes him really happy. He believes everything I say, which is not a good thing because I do tell some stupid stories.
More for him because you are what I like to call a bit of
like a hot air balloon.
A bit of an exaggerator, a bit of a fibber, a little bit of white.
You have to put a little bit of salt and pepper on something.
A little bit of white lies here and there.
Yeah,
you like to elaborate on your stories.
Well, I just wanted to see if he'd do it, and he did it. Like, well, I make the Vegemite sandwich. Okay, mate, go on. And he's been doing it ever since. It's like I said. It's because he believes in black magic.
Oh God!
And I said to him, "Well, if this is what you need to know in this country, you have to make Vegemite sandwiches every day and put them in his bag." Okay, I'll do that. And he's been doing it ever since. Why would I make that up? What is wrong with me?
Well,
I can't. I need help.
You've said it before. You need those tablets.
I don't even know what they would be. Like I don't think it would be any point because it will change me too much. I'd probably become real docile.
You've gone too far now. You just got to wear it.
Exactly.
It'd
be like changing my personality just for the sake of not being a weirdo for 23 of the 24 hours of the day.
It's funny in social situations. Having your mindset.
It's because I'm a bit witty. I've got a bit of a quick wit.
Yeah, because anything that pops into your brain, you're just saying.
I just say it. Like the other day when we were having lunch. Do you reckon you could climb that? Nobody thinks shit like that, man. Like,
we were literally talking about something, and then you just went off train and just mentioned this random. Do you reckon you could climb that? And I'm like, there it is. That's the ADD kicking in again.
I need help.
He's on fire.
I need severe help.
You'll be right, mate. You're right.
I think I'll be alright. I'll just keep coughing. Maybe if I cough enough, it'll cough it out of me.
You cough it out, yeah. Get rid of it. Oh well, mate. It's been a good one.
Well, we've babbled on. We've babbled on with rubbish for the past 10 minutes. I'm sorry,
people haven't really. We've probably lost a few listeners by now because they didn't want to listen to that shit.
Oh, but they might. Who knows? They might want to.
You just never know. Yeah,
you just never know.
All right,
It's not about the. Very good. I'll talk to you next. I'll talk to you at work, but then I'll talk to you.
Well, if you're alive and well, I'll see you. If not, get better.
I'm gonna go have a wash.
Have some hot.
I'm gonna wash the day off me. I will. See you, Cobb.
See you, mate. Take it easy.
Ta-ta.